Hi guys, and welcome to Fix Savers. In today's video we're coming at you with another one in our pool table series of videos, and we're going to be looking specifically on how to get a tidy pocket install. If you've done a pool cloth installation, you may well end up with these little cutouts that are visible, especially on your corner pockets. So on the corner pocket here, depending on your pool table, on this one we've got the 1-inch slate, we've then got the backing material, and then we have an additional section below. So it's a long way to stretch your cloth, especially if it's a worsted cloth like this one is, which doesn't have very much stretch. So you may well end up with these little visible little cutouts. So what we're going to show you is a nice little way of refinishing these pockets to get rid of all of this mess and make it look something like this. So let's take a look at how we do it. So on this worsted cloth, like I mentioned before, it's quite unforgiving, so you can just see the little indents of where the original staples were. If you're working with a napped cloth, they tend to be far more forgiving. You may not see those, but these kind of speed orientated cloths, that's something like what you're going to end up with. Also, now that those staples are out, you'll see you've got a little bit of bounce just in the face there. Now this little workaround that we're going to do to tidy this pocket up will get rid of both of these problems. So you shouldn't see any of these little nicks where the old staples were, and also it will take the cloth back nice and tight against the face of the inside face of the pocket there. Now you're going to want to get yourself some cloth. Now if you've removed the previous cloth from your pool table to replace it with your new one, and hopefully you've got lots of leftover cloth, and that is the perfect opportunity. Likewise, if you had plenty of length left over on your table and you were able to cut some off of the end, fantastic. This is what you need. Now it doesn't technically have to be pool table cloth. So if you haven't got enough left over from your job, and maybe your previous cloth that you took over was a completely different colour, then what you can do is you can go to a fabric shop, take your new cloth to a fabric shop, and you just want any type of cloth. It doesn't really matter what it's made of, whether it's a cotton or a poly or a wool. Just looking for a fairly thick, tight weave material in as close a colour as you can match. So any fabric shop should be able to set you up with something similar. Like I said, it doesn't have to be pool table cloth, and it doesn't have to match exactly, but if you have got the old stuff, then that is your ideal scenario. So with regards to how much cloth you need, doing these corner pockets, the section that we've got here is approximately 10 inches. This is kind of deeper than we need. This is a full 6-inch. You won't need that. You can probably get away with a 5 definitely, maybe 4 at a push. We'll see as we progress, but about 10 inches, and obviously you've got to multiply that by all of your pockets. So you've got to make sure you've got enough to do all 6 pockets. So make sure your piece of cloth that you want to use, just hold that in the middle, that there's plenty to come around, and you have a little bit to come around on both of the corners. There you go, a little bit more on that side, so even that up, a little bit there, a little bit there. So you want to make sure that your cloth is wider, so you've got a little bit, not very much, just a centimetre or so, that you can fold over at the end. So now what we can do is flip over your cloth. So this is the reverse of the cloth, the side that you don't want to see. Ignore my mark at the top. That's where I just made a mistake. So I've done it again on the bottom. What I've done is I've just marked off 2 centimetres, 2 centimetres, 2 centimetres, and then drawn a line between those points to give us a straight line that's 2 centimetres from the bottom of my cloth. In addition to that, folded it in half, push the pencil into the corner, open it up again, and got my centre point, and put a mark on there. Now the distance from the bottom may vary depending on your particular pool table or your application. So what you want to do before you start is kind of hold it up in your pocket and make sure it kind of feels about right. You'll see why we've marked it at 2 centimetres on our particular table, and if you need to adjust that 2.5 or 1.5, you can do that as you need to. Okay, so if we have a little look at what we've got here on our particular pool table, we've got this very bottom piece of wood, and then what I can feel just under there is you probably can't see it, just under there you can feel the lip of the piece of wood that the slate is mounted to. So I've got 1 inch of slate, and I can kind of feel where that ends, and then we've got the same kind of thickness of backing wood for the slate, and we've got this additional piece which is part of the base frame of the table. And what I want to try and do is, it's actually slightly easier to do, believe it or not, on the centre pockets, and in our full video on the pool tablecloth replacement, we show a little bit of that as well, so you might want to check that video out. But what you can do is, what you're looking to do is find that level and then bring your cloth in, and you want to get the bottom of your cloth so it's approximately level with the bottom of that wood. It doesn't have to be exact, you want to kind of do it by feel. So that'll be my kind of starting point, and then obviously I want to make sure that we're definitely in the centre. Now I'm just looking, that's about right there. Looking to get the bottom of my cloth approximately level with the bottom of the timber attached to the slate. So my height approximated out. Hold that there temporarily. I'm just going to fold that over and look at where the top of my cloth would be. Now if you again, you want to feel where your slate is, and I'm definitely the top, there's the bottom of my slate just below my nail, so I've got a small gap there, and at this level you can see that I'm definitely going to be above all of the holding staples, so that's a good level to aim for. Now a little tip for you as well, as you'll see when we start stapling this, you've got a couple of options when it comes to stapling. Your stapler, I just grab R1. So here's the head of the stapler, and as you can see, the bit that you push in to release the staple is actually runs a little bit higher than where these staples actually come out. So you've got a choice. You can either put this head on the line as we go around, and then your staple will fire in a few millimeters lower than that, or you can push it in and manually aim the center of this onto the line, depending on exactly where you want your staple to end up. Now the only thing you've got to be careful with is, again, roughly line that up somewhere around there, somewhere around there. If I put my staple in that line, we are fairly close to the slates, and obviously we don't want to hit that, so we'd actually be okay. So I'm going to get fairly close to the line, but I know that I'm pretty much above, and I'll do the same on the side here. Again, if I find the bottom here, hold that down. Yeah, we can see that we've got a little thread in there, but we can see that we're definitely above the level of all these little staple holes. That's what we want to check before you get stuck in, is that you're actually going to cover all the bits you need to cover. So spend a little bit of time. You can do it in a few little spots, fold down, just make sure that you're covered, you're happy with it, so that you make sure that when you put your staples through, you're getting them exactly where you want them, so that all this will be covered. So when you're ready to start, again, just find your level across the bottom, and then make sure you've got an even amount on both sides. Just move it around a little bit if you need to. Yeah, that's somewhere about there. You can see that I'm trying to get my staple as close to the line as possible, so I'm not resting the tip of the tool and firing, because that would actually fire a little bit lower. I'm manually placing that on the line. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat that coming around to this side. So again, I want to make sure that the level is even all the way along, and then I'll start stapling around to the side until I get to the edge just here. And then again, we're just going to repeat the process. Make sure your level's good. There is a little bit of flex to the material, and then just follow that around, ending in this corner. few little bits fraying, so just get those out of the way. So with all these staples in, what you want to do is run your thumb over them, and you want to make sure that all of them are sat very, very flush, or hopefully slightly indented. If you can feel like one corner is slightly sticking up and is rough to the thumb, then what you can do is grab a hammer and just gently tap those in. If you want to make sure that all of those are flush, you shouldn't feel anything poking out. If you do, give it a tap. And then just fold the cloth down and check what we've got. So as we can see, we've definitely managed to get all of the those old staple holes have all been covered, and there's the top of my slate just there. So I'm below the level of the slate, so I haven't attempted to staple it into the side of the slate, which is always a positive. So there we go. So that's the kind of look that we're going to go for, and obviously we're going to get that under tension and staple it on from the underneath, and that will help reduce the wrinkles and get a nice clean finish. So what I'm going to do is just take the corner here, fold it around. I'm just going to put a couple of staples in here, and then likewise on the opposite side there, just fold that around, and a couple of staples just to hold that in place and keep that out of the way. So now what we want to do is we want to cut some slots into this material, just like we did when we were fitting the pocket. And what we want to do is make these a little bit wider than your thumb, so they can be quite chunky to give you something to work with. And obviously when you do cut the slots up, you need to keep double checking that the end of the slot is definitely under the edge of the table. You don't want to end up with your slot here, because you can be back to square one with a visible slot right here. So if you find the approximate centre, make sure that it's going underneath. And what I like to do, just with the pencil, just mark a little bit wider than my thumb, either side of my thumb. Those are going to be my base marks for my first cuts. So what you want to do is, again, a little bit wider than your thumb. Always cut them a bit short and then fine tune them. Just going to do the same on this side. You might get to a point like I have here, where you end up with an uneven number of cuts. It depends how close to centre you are when you start. That's absolutely fine. So I've got an extra one going in this direction. I'm reluctant to cut this one right here because it's only about an inch or so from the edge, so I reckon I should have plenty to pull under. If we need to cut one in there, we can do, but I really don't think that we'll need to, because we're too close to the edge to be able to cut another one into there comfortably. So I think we'll go with the odd number, and hopefully should be good. Okay, so we've got far more material than we need when we fold this up, so I'm just going to cut it off approximately square. This will still be too much, no doubt. And obviously don't cut this one square, you want to cut about that same length off, because it's wider, it won't be square. Now starting from the centre, don't pull it too hard, so we don't want to put too much stress on the staples here, but fairly hard that we just take the wrinkles out of it. We're going to fold that up, get a couple of staples into the first tab. Now we want to take the second tab, again same thing, just pulling that straight up, removing any wrinkles, not over tight, not putting stress on the staples, but enough to get a nice smooth finish. going to repeat the process on this one and the end one. And then we'll come to the other side and we'll do our last remaining ones here as well. That's going to give you a nice idea of what the finished pocket's going to look like and what you'll see when you look down inside the pocket. Obviously we've still got all these tabs and we've only got 2 staples in each, so now we're going to go up underneath, get some more staples, get these secured. If we need to cut the remaining material off any of these, we'll do that. So now's the time, get more staples in, get it secured and start to get it tidied up. When you come underneath, if you see like any little small wrinkles, then you can just kind of change the direction. You'll pull that cloth in just to make sure that sits nice and flat. It's also a good idea just to add a staple just at the tip of your little cuts. This will help stop this ever kind of tearing more or fraying. So you can put a staple right at the tip of each of these little kind of arrowhead shaped things, little cutouts, and that will just help prevent that going any further in the future. And just go over and give all of your staples a light tap. You can just cut off your little excess on your tabs. So with the little offcuts on the end pieces, what you want to do is just find a solution that kind of works really. All you try and do is tidy it up. You could cut it off, but alternatively it's often worth playing around with it and seeing if you can kind of fold it, find a solution. Yeah, so I might put a little staple in there and just cut that a little bit off. Just anything you can do just to kind of tidy that up. So there we have it, guys. Hopefully you found this video useful or helpful. If you have, please be sure to give us a like on YouTube before you leave us here, and if you could hit that subscribe button, it really does help us out and will be very much appreciated in return. Check out our YouTube videos. We've got loads more stuff on pool tables, as well as loads of other DIY stuff. So youtube.com/fixsavers. Thanks for watching and we'll see you again.